on Facebook. I'm your host, Dave Phillips, audio engineer and lecturer based in the UK, and joining me as ever are two of the top podium F1 Pro Tools drivers from Tonkraftwerk in Austria, Master Instructor, Anders Motz.
Hello.
And the Grandmaster of all Pro Tools Jedi in Tokyo, Andy Hagerman.
How you doing?
Now, before I start, I need to give a shout out to our wonderful patron supporters who generously support us each month. Many thanks to our buddies Mike, Gregor, Matthew and Don. We really appreciate your support. More than any of us could vocalize properly. And if you guys are valuing what we're doing here at Pro Tools Answers and want to lend your support as well, you can head over to patreon.com/Pro Tools Answers. But there's something else that we're going to add to that now, because have a look at what we've got, everybody. Look at this. We had some awesome stuff made. Alex, how are you feeling right now?
Very good.
Whose idea was this? I think Anders might have mentioned it.
This is Anders, yeah.
I think Anders mentioned it once, and then Andy wouldn't shut up about it for months.
Sounds about right.
Are the jerseys ready? Are the jerseys ready? Are the jerseys ready? And these are the coolest freaking things in the planet, right? These are just amazing.
Now, these are hockey jerseys, right? Not for fans, but for hockey players. These are real hockey jerseys. These are fantastic. Anders has outdone himself. These are fantastic. This is my favorite shirt. I haven't taken this off in the week that I've had it.
I mean, you're going to need to get multiple ones just to continuously wear the same shirt, right?
Yep, it's exactly what I'm going to do. My order for another 20 is in the mail.
So they look great on the front. Anders, could you give us a little bit of a spin around?
Oh, should I?
Show us what's on the back as well.
Let's not get tangled here in mine. Can you see that?
There we go. Proper stuff.
Nice.
These look so cool.
So it's got my name on the back. How cool is that?
We're so happy.
And this is sturdily built. This is awesome. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the best swag of any company that I've ever had.
And they're not just exclusively for us, are they? Oh, we're actually making these available to you guys. Well,
with your own name on it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So you can design whatever name you want, whatever number you want on the back, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as we do, because I haven't taken this off in a week.
Awesome.
But I think
so cool.
Any number available, or a couple of numbers have already been taken, right? But we'll let you know.
Yes. Okay. So today's subject. Andy wanted to take the lead on this one.
Yeah. So let me, as a introduction to this topic, let me introduce our guest star. Some of you will recognize Alex Brook. He's joined us on a couple of drinks with Pro Tools Answers, and he's a friend of the team. He's also a colleague within Avid, and Alex used to work with me when I was the training manager for Asia. And then when I moved on to another position, he took over my old job, and he's now the training manager for Asia, doing, and I won't say this in public, but doing a better job at this than I ever did. So he's a colleague that I'm proud to know and proud to work with. Now, he'll tell you that he's a Pro Tools beginner, but that is there's some degree of too much modesty on that one. He knows his stuff, and he came with a really interesting question that I think generated a show-worthy topic. And so let me throw it then now to Alex. Can you ask me that question as close to how you asked it before?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, guys, thanks for having me on the show. It's great to be here. It's awesome to hang out with you guys. Thank you very much. And so here's let me paint the scenario of what I'm trying to do, and then let me ask the question, and hopefully maybe you'll have other listeners who also have the same issue. So I produce podcasts, so as you can imagine, I'm editing a lot of dialogue, right? And I happen to record a podcast where I'm recording locally on my machine, and the voice actor I'm working with, she happens to be in the States. So we both record locally, and we sync via Skype just so we can keep the conversation going. Now, when I set up my session, what I do is I have one track of mono for me, which I record locally, and I have another mono track which records directly from Skype. So at the end of the session, basically I've got one mono track of amazingly great quality audio, and then another mono track of pretty awful, atrocious audio quality because it's recorded directly from Skype. Now, because of reasons and scheduling, the voice actor I work with, she tends to send over the audio file to me about a week afterwards. So I have to wait like a week or so before I can edit everything. Mm-hmm. Now, this leads on to my question. I've actually just recorded a podcast now, and I just went ahead and edited my dialogue, my mono track audio and hers together. So it's all edited, but it's terrible quality. Here's a question. Can I import the higher quality audio I eventually get from her into my session and get that audio to conform to the edits I've already made on the crappy audio? Is that possible? Does that even make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. Very complicated technically, but it's possible. Yeah. I think it would be possible.
And one of the things I like about this is that, with COVID and with the growing, media community of content creators and podcasts and all this stuff, I'll bet you there's a bunch of folks out there that would benefit from this. And we can talk about other things that you can do with our solution. And the solution that we went through, and it works. I'll just, I'll skip to the end real quick. It does work. We went through it, but we'll walk through the process with you guys. The tool that we're going to use is a tool that is normally used for post-production workflows, and it's a thing called a guide track. And it's used with field recorder workflows. And Dave and Anders, have you guys worked with guide tracks before?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
not me.
Okay. So Anders, if you explain it to me as if I didn't know what a guide track or field recorder workflow is. Tell me in a post-production scenario how you would use a guide track with post-production.
So depending on who you're working with, but ideally when you're using a field recorder in the field to record production audio, all of the lavaliers, booms, and stuff like that, you'd usually have time code on that unit, and that time code is of course synchronized with all of the camera angles and so on. And the person that's recording this, the field mixer, is also creating a mono mix of all of the lavaliers and all of the microphones, which he basically gives to the video editor, that then in the video editing stage has that audio as a guide track, and he will cut video and audio at the same time because they're aligning based on time code. And when the video editing is done, it gets transmitted over to the audio editing guy in post-production, where you as a dialogue editor can then use this guide track, which has a time code written into it. And you can use those little snippets of time code and extract the original recordings from the hard drive. So that you can like filter in the original takes of all of the microphones instead of having to do that manually and search for lavalier number 3 and that correct place and time. Is that could you understand that workflow? Yep.
So and I would go kind of 2 steps farther. First of all, this is a workflow that is only available in Pro Tools Ultimate. So Pro Tools Standard, because it's Pro Tools Standard, it's feature limited. It doesn't have this guide track or field recorder workflows feature built in, right? So this is something that's going to be an Ultimate only thing. And I would also say that in addition to timecode, right? Timecode is the essential element of a field recorder, but a field recorder and a field recordist will also put other kinds of data into those files, like the date, the reel,
scene and
the director,
take.
scenes, all that stuff. So they can throw a bunch of data, stamp it into the file in a thing called metadata. Okay, so that metadata is stamped in the file. And the whole idea behind a guide track is the video guy can just edit one track, and we can match the time code and metadata and pull in audio from another place and have it all conform. Now, here's the problem, is that Alex, he does have Pro Tools Ultimate, but it's not a field recorder that he's working with. So we're going to have to do a little bit of a hack. So so Alex, do we want to do this on your computer, or you want to do it on mine?
I'll try on my computer. Let me just start up Pro Tools, and let me see if I can get this to work.
While you're starting up, Alex, give the podcast a bit of a plug.
Oh, my podcast, yeah. If you're interested in learning Japanese, I do a podcast called Learn Japanese Pod, and I get together with a very good friend of mine who teaches Japanese, and she teaches me and our listeners various useful everyday dialogues in Japanese. So if you're interested in visiting Japan, interested in Japanese culture, and improving your Japanese speaking and listening skills, definitely give us a listen. Come along. And that's you can find us at learnjapanesepod.com. So please give it a listen. And actually, the podcast is how I first met Andy, because Andy was a listener of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
At the risk of
didn't learn any Japanese.
At the risk of digressing, where did the name come from? How did you come up with the name?
Learn Japanese Pod. So Learn Japanese is pretty explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
I started it in 2005 when podcasts were becoming a thing. And so it was basically a fit of incredibly unoriginal imagination on my part just to call it. What are we going to call it? Learn Japanese Pod. And then that was it. So
I thought it might have been...
I don't get a prize for originality, but it did help there.
I thought it might have been original Google search, like the Google keywords, the simplest Google keywords.
Well, our competitor is called... So sometimes there's a bit of confusion. So
okay.
Anyway, we're the one with a logo with a cute green dinosaur on it. So now you know. But give us a listen. Come check it out. Yeah,
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see that?
Oh my God! Even the guest can do it well.
So just to give you an explanation of what I have here is what do I have here? Let's do this. Okay. So the bottom track is the original source from Skype. This is completely unedited here. Mm-hmm. And if I just solo this, I don't know if you can actually... Oh, hang on. Let me just change one thing. I think we need Zoom audio device. Give me a sec here. Okay, so I
Aloha.
Could you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely done.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my, it actually works. Amazing. Okay, so here's my session. So basically what we have is, this is the original audio that was recorded directly from Skype from the voice actor I'm working with. So this is all unedited, and if I just play you a bit.
Hello. Aloha. 119番の消防ですが。
So you can hear that the audio is a little bit compressed. It's not the full quality audio we want. And then if I just solo my audio here. Welcome and where the devil have you been? There you go. So that's pretty good quality audio. Now what I did was I edited my audio and the voice actor's audio here. So these two are the edits are finished, and here is the unedited source. So basically, if I do this, you should be able to hear our conversation like this. How's it going, Ami-sensei?
はーい、こんにちは。元気です。
Great. So nice quality audio and crappy quality audio. So my question is, I now have a file with the good quality audio that I want to import and have this file conform to Skype edit. So that's what I want to conform it to. How would I go about doing that?
So in this equation, your Skype edit track, the green one, is equivalent to what we would call a guide track in post production. Right.
Okay.
This is that mix down that Anders talked about, which nobody ever hears it in the movie, right? But we use it as a guide. It is a track that is a guide. We call it a guide track. We gave that as much thought as Pro Tools Learn Japanese Pod, right? So so it does pretty much what's on the tin. Now, where the hack comes in is that I've asked Alex to keep unedited the Ami Sensei's Skype track, which is that yellow track at the bottom. That's the audio that is not of good quality, but it's unedited, and there's a reason for this. So here's what we're going to do to start this out. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to trick Pro Tools into matching some metadata. So what I want you to do is I want you to import Ami's good audio.
Okay, so this is the good audio. I guess the various ways I could do this. Could I, for example, drag and drop it into the tracks list?
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try that way. And give it a second.
Not my favourite way to do it, there, but it does work. But there are caveats.
How would you recommend doing it? Using the workspace browser or?
Well, to start with, understanding the sample rates.
Right.
And file import. I just recommend that everybody uses file import, and then until they intrinsically understand how sample rates work and how the files and the Pro Tools sessions at sample rate interact.
Yeah,
right.
So on that,
this dragging in is a bit of a toss up if you're not kind of sure.
Sure.
Right. It certainly can be.
Yeah.
And by the way, we can tell here that the sample rate wasn't the same because it's converting it to the sample rate, which isn't going to do any damage to the quality that you're going to hear.
No, my argument is that I always like working on first generation files, and if there's no need to convert, I'd rather not.
No, completely agree. By the way, just as a note to you guys who are watching this, the only reason why we are having to record is because Zoom only supports 48K, and Alex's original session was 44.1. So this is a problem that did not exist in the original workflow.
I think we're almost there.
Insert elevator music
okay.
here.
Yeah, great.
Fantastic. Do me a favor, Alex, and just because it's driving me crazy, can you hide the clip gain line?
Oh, yes, I can. Can you remind me the shortcut? It's, what is it again? It's, wait. No, that's not it.
Just go
And the
up,
drive formats.
right.
go up to the view menu. There's
Okay.
quick clips and then clip gain.
It's control shift minus, right?
That's right.
Oh, Control Shift minus. There we got it. Okay.
That's right. Now, here's the problem. We could see it right off the bat, is that you started recording the yellow track at a different time than Ami started recording, right?
Sure.
So you can kind of see the where it's aligning, but she's clearly started recording later than you did. Okay.
Sure.
So the first thing we're going to do, and this is where the hack starts to come in, is let's take that first thing that Ami says in the red track and line it up to the same line in the yellow track.
And I think it's about here. I think this is it. Let me just double check.
はい。Okay. Into
So, okay, and I think that is here.
Oh, that has
You're
to be.
listening to Learn Japanese. Sorry, let me do that again.
119番の消防ですが、火事ですか？
Oh, that's not it.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think it's there.
apologies.
I think it's that big yellow thing that you were just at.
That one, yeah.
119番
That's it. Okay, so we wanna align this with this. Okay.
Yep. Now to do that, let's use tab to transient and sync points.
Okay.
And this, by the way, is these are features. This is feature that exists in Pro Tools Ultimate and Pro Tools Standard. So this alignment technique is in all versions of Pro Tools. So just go anywhere before that and hit tab to transient one time.
Yeah. Here we go. There we go.
Great. And now it's at the beginning of that statement. So what I want you to do is I want you to put a sync point there.
So this is the source audio, right?
Aren't you doing this the backwards way right
Nope,
now?
hold on a second.
Okay. I'm excited to hear this.
Put a sync point there.
Yep.
Put a sync point there. Command, comma. This.
Yep.
Raw.
Now
Okay.
go to the bottom one, and I want you to go to the beginning of the track.
Sure.
And do just tab to transient
Oops. Right.
and put a sync point there.
Oh, okay.
You flicked over into spot mode, by the way.
Oh, why the hell am I in spot mode? There we go. Right. Thank you.
Okay. Now the reason why I put a sync point in the top one, Anders, is so that I know when I go back where I'm going back to.
Yep.
I didn't have to do it. So Alex, so please go now to move your playback cursor to, there you go, you're going to do it. Move it to the beginning of that word on the yellow track, and we know that it's the right one just because I put a sync point there just as a visual indicator.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Now, how do you remember, Alex, the shortcut and the process to align the sync point with the timeline insertion?
So I know aligning the head of a clip to the timeline insertion area is using the grabber and pressing Control.
That's right.
And I vaguely remember sync starts with S. So okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Control Shift click.
Very good.
With the grabber.
Yeah.
With the grabber. Okay. Let's hope nothing explodes.
Awesome.
But now, let's go ahead and check it. Go ahead and
Okay, I'm gonna solo
and
this.
Solo it.
Okay, and then let's just see what this sounds like. Oops.
119番の消防ですが、火事ですか？救急ですか？
That's interesting. It's what would you call that? It's not flanging. It's just slightly out of sync. Not terrible.
Right. So at that point, by the way, this is happening because the encrypted or the encoded audio that you heard with Skype is not the same, and you can even see here that it's just a little bit behind. So what I might do is go ahead and nudge that puppy.
So let's.
And you could do it during playback, by the way.
So
go ahead and start playback.
Let's do nudge. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Wait, samples. What would you suggest for samples for nudging, like 100 or 200 or?
Mine is 10 milliseconds. That's just where I live.
Oh, okay.
But I think it comes down to personal preferences.
Okay. Let's see then. It's
119番の消防ですが、火事ですか？救急です
Okay,
か？
select the bottom track.
救急
yeah.
Okay, start playback.
119番の消防ですが、
And hit the
火事
plus
ですか？
key.
救急ですか？
Yeah.
救急です。救急ですね。住所を、Let me do that again. 救急ですね。住所を教えてください。
It's a bit
東
closer.
京都渋谷区渋谷
That's
1丁目
good enough,
12
isn't it? I
13
mean, you
It
won't
is.
hear the old recording
That's fine.
simultaneously. Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Now here's
That's totally
and,
fine.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that we learned in this process is don't go blind lining these things up. So you can, but one of the things that we found out that was, I think, a little bit of a surprise to both of us is that the codec that Skype uses and that Zoom uses, they all use, is messing around with the time pretty badly. So even if you've got it lined up here, do a spot check and make sure that it doesn't go out of sync as your session goes on. So Alex, you've worked with this before. So you said you had to kind of redo this in around 2 or 3 places.
You know what? I did, but having listened to it, it's not too bad. I'm not so.
Let's do a
strict about
spot
it. I'm just
check
going to go
somewhere.
into the middle and just see what happens here.
You can use that for either calling the
Actually got better.
It got better. Actually, it's fine. It's fine. I think at the end, if we go here, maybe it goes out.
今日は変わってるけど、ね、結構
Yeah.
But
so
hey,
at
whatever.
that point,
I don't mind. Yeah.
it could become a problem at some point. By the way, you can see those two little words right there. Your cursor's right next to it. Yeah. So those would be really easy to resync. And so let's do that just because. So go ahead and do me a favor and go ahead and tab to transient to the beginning of that word on the red track.
Yep.
And hit the B key to create a break. Great.
Yep.
Now go directly up and go ahead and tab to that.
And tab to transient, and then I'm just going to do control click, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Boink. And then
Great.
let's have a listen.
うんうんうんうん
Oh yeah. It's totally
so
fine. Yeah.
so it didn't get too bad, right? So, but this is you do a couple of checks. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a lot better. Okay. So now we're about halfway there. Now here's here's where the hack is. I want you to select all of the alignment track or the red track, the AMI import.
Yeah, right.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
From the beginning.
Oh, I see. Okay. Just a sec. Dum,
So you can
dum.
triple click
Oh.
on any
Oh.
with the selector tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the selector tool.
There.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's great.
And let's just go ahead and make sure that you caught it at the beginning,
Oops.
which I think you probably did. No, you didn't.
Yeah, right.
Click, click, click.
1, 2, 3.
That's good.
No, it's not, because what we need to do is we need to reestablish the time code.
Got it.
You
I'm
can
gonna
do that.
Shift return. Oops.
Yep, there you
I
go.
didn't- Is that it? Did that work?
Yep, it did. There you go.
It did. There you go. Got it.
There you go.
Okay.
Now consolidate what you just did.
Okay. Consolidate. Shift Option 3. And it is consolidating.
Well done for not creating a screenshot.
Oh, if I had a penny for every time I did a screenshot when I was trying to consolidate. Yes, I've
Now-
been there many times.
Now here's what. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but
Sure.
maybe the easiest way to do this is to take that clip, which is selected in your clips list. It's at the bottom there. I can see it selected.
Oh yeah.
At the very bottom. Do a right click and export it as a file.
Oh, okay. So export clips as file.
Mm-hmm.
MP3.
Nope.
Crazy. Why 16-bit? 40.
Make it 48 so we don't have to do any more. There you go.
Okay.
Fantastic. And choose your and this is going to be important. So go ahead and choose your destination directory.
Okay, so where should I just do this in the audio files of the session or in another one?
You can do it anywhere, but just for now, I want you to create a new folder called Use This.
Oh, okay. One sec. Let me find this here.
Just just put it on your desktop. Just to use this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'll do.
Now you're going to have to be able to find it in just a second.
Okay. Cool.
Great.
And then just save it there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Auto renaming prompt for
That's
each
fine.
tuple. Yeah.
That's-
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
Exporto.
Great. Now, once that's done, you can either delete or you can deactivate the bottom two tracks because you don't need them anymore.
Sure. Okay. So just a mo. Wait, I can't do it while it's. Yeah, it won't let me.
Now, Anderson and Dave, keep me honest on this. Have I missed anything? Because the devil's in the details of this workflow.
No, you're good. This far.
Let's.
What
That's
Anders said.
ominous. All right, so now what we've done, and just to let you know what we've done, is we've recreated a new file that should, by time code, line up with the file that Alex recorded through Skype. Okay? Now, Let's have some fun. On the Skype edit track, right-click the track name.
Okay.
Okay, at the very bottom, you're going to see Field Recorder Guide Track. Boom, click that.
Okay.
Now
Done.
you've just identified to Pro Tools that this is a guide track, okay, which is going to allow you to do a couple other things. So go back and right-click on the track name, and you're going to see a couple other things.
Oh.
Now you can go here. The first thing that we do, and this is, I think, goes back to field recorder workflows. Usually with field recorder workflows, the field recorder is going to dump all its files in a location that might not be in your audio files folder, right? So just to make life a little bit simpler, I asked you to put this in a new file called use this, right?
Yeah.
And I want you to choose select areas to search,
Okay.
which is the next from the bottom. Great.
Right. And now
you're gonna see a window come up.
This, yeah, right.
So click the plus button and add a place.
Okay.
And I want you to
so
find use this, which is right in the there you go.
It is.
Pop it.
And
Click
then
open.
just a question here. I'm actually choosing the whole folder, right? It's
That's
not like
right.
an individual file. Okay.
It's going to look at everything in that location,
Oh.
and it's going to use that as a match.
Got it.
And to do that, it will first go in and analyze everything and like look at all of the time codes, which is obviously just one clip here. So it will have a pretty fast time doing this.
And that's part
right.
part of the guide track functionality, right?
Yep.
That's correct,
it
and it
looks
doesn't
a
show
bit-
up until you identify it as a guide track.
Cool. Could I ask a question? When we're selecting an area to search, is that search then saved with that specific session, or will Pro Tools always be looking for that folder when you're doing field recorder work?
No, it's a session specific.
It's a session
thing.
specific.
Yeah. And so that's why session templates and things like that are so important to post production, because usually you're going to want to go back to that again and again, and it's saved with the session or the session template.
So you can save this with the session template. Awesome.
Yep.
So
go
it
ahead.
looks like it's pointing to this folder now. So what do I do? Save an index.
And
right?
by the way, could you have it point to multiple places? Yes, you could. In this case, we don't need to, but yeah. So now go ahead and click Save and Index.
And just to point out why that might be, you might have a couple of 100 hours of material on different hard drives lying around from different field recordists, and so you can add more locations.
And we can see how saving a template for that right off the bat would be a very good idea. If you're going to be doing it often, you can really speed up your work later.
Now, the next thing is to select everything on the timeline on the Skype edit track.
Okay. So, excuse me.
Great.
Just check I've got everything. Yeah.
Okay. Now, because that's going to choose what's going to be replaced. By the way, if you wanted to, align only a selected area, like a scene in post production or something like that, you can definitely do that. But in this case, we want to do the whole thing. Now, we're almost done.
Okay.
Go ahead and right click on. There you go. Now, I'm gonna take a little bit of a detour just for the sake of the podcast. Go to matching field recorder channels.
Okay.
Now you don't have to go here for what you're going to do, but just to take a little bit of a detour, go to match criteria.
Sure. Okay. And now I have a window that's just come up.
And what this is, field recorders can save a whole bunch of different kind of metadata. It always saves time code, right? That's the air we breathe in post production. But you can also do these other things. So, for example, the shoot date, the sound roll name, the channel name, channel numbers, the first few letters of the file name, and you can choose at the top. You can see match criterion to any or all of them, so you can choose how limited that search is. But it will always, in any of these cases, also do the matching to time code. That's not something that is ever deselectable, right? So there you go.
That was my next question. I was going to say where is time code, but it's so intrinsic to this workflow that it's just always on, right? It always.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
right.
Okay, so you can
cool.
close that. Now we don't need to do that here, but in
Sure.
in post production we do. So now go ahead and right click one last time.
Sure.
And go to matching field recorder channels, the same thing. Now, expand channels to new tracks.
Sure.
Now you can do it, by the way, by match criterion, which like I said, there's no other metadata in this file that we created other than timecode. So let's keep things a little bit simple. Go by timecode only.
Sure. Okay.
And wait.
Okay.
And so at the end of the search, and it's searching by timecode, the other thing that is a little bit atypical of this, because there's no other metadata, is it's finding in the search location and in a couple other places, it's finding all the files that match the same timecode, and it conforms that. So what we wound up with when we did this before and when we're doing it now is a bunch of different potential tracks. So now what we have to do is find out the one that we're going to be using. So remember the file name that you called in the in the use it file. So when you save that file, it was called what?
Just a sec. It
Amiport.
was. Just a sec. Amiport _01.
Amiport _01. So now we know there's a couple of tracks that we can get rid of right off the bat.
So
Alex 307, first track. Alex Skype Edit 1 gone.
Yeah.
Skype Edit 2 is gone.
So let's see. This is Skype source. So this is Skype Edit 4. Let's have a listen to this then.
はーい、こんにちは。元気です。
Oh yeah, it's like way better quality. So
And so now if you played the Skype Edit and either one of those tracks, you could trash one of them.
so I'm assuming it's these two tracks are the correct ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just gonna hide these just for now. And then let's have a listen. Full Japanese teacher. Ami sensei, how's it going, Ami sensei?
はーい、こんにちは。元気です。アレックスさんは
Fantastic. That's it.
And so that's basically replaced all the time that you would have to wait. And it did, in one operation, hundreds of edits. It could easily have done thousands of edits. And if you zoom in real quickly at, for example, the beginning of the timeline, you'll notice, just go ahead back to the beginning.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and zoom. You'll see that the anything that you did with fades on the guide track will also have fades on the so there, right there, you can see tiny little fade.
Right.
So all the tweaking that you did with the editing, now with the variations between the compressed audio and the uncompressed, there might be a couple of things that miss, but you've already you've gotten rid of a lot of unnecessary work. So yeah, for example, right there might be.
Look at that.
No, probably it's fine.
It's got all the fades in it. That is absolutely fantastic. That's such a good workflow. So what that means now is, once we finish recording and she takes her sweet time to send me the audio, I can actually immediately just start editing, and then like a week or so later import the good audio and then get that to conform to the edits I'd already made. That's fantastic. It's almost as if you've done this before, fellas.
Well, I had never
great.
done it before with this, right? This is
no way?
definitely
Oh.
this is using a tool for a job that it wasn't designed for, but it works completely fine. If you understand the logic of a guide track, could you use this with drum tracks? Sure. If you have like one stereo drum track and then you have kick, snare, and all that, could you use it as a guide? Of course you could. All you need to do is reestablish a common timecode location, and then call something a guide track. Make sure you're looking in the right place, and then you're done. So this is I was so happy when we walked through this and it worked. Alex's hands actually went up in the air, and he was like, "Yay!" So it's always what we want to see with customers.
Yeah,
I know.
And just to be clear, what this re-establishing that time code, common time code location is done by the simple operation of damn it, I'm missing the word here.
Consolidate.
Consolidate, exactly, because consolidate will insert that new time code into the audio file itself. So that's the part that is the most important thing, to consolidate that time code in.
Well, that's
right.
absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is a huge game changer for me, because it means then I can get all the edits done immediately after recording, then I'm good to go. That's fantastic.
So,
what's the bill? I owe you a lot of beers.
Possibly not the best idea right now, hey? So I do have a question, and some other people may be pointing out the same thing. You could achieve a similar kind of thing with, well, the recording side anyway, with cloud collaboration. Is that something that you'd thought of?
I had, but I hadn't done any research into it properly, and that's definitely something I'd be interested in thinking about. I don't know if any of you guys have had any experience using cloud collaboration or live stream recording or anything like that. I don't know about it really.
Yeah. Also, it would mean that Ami would have to be recording to Pro Tools, which we don't know if she's actually doing.
No, right.
That's what I didn't know.
Yes.
Actually,
I don't believe she's using Pro Tools. I believe she's using something else. Yeah.
Okay. Which validates your workflow. Okay, awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, exactly. Yeah, so she's not using Pro Tools, so cloud collaboration's out of the question. Yeah.
Okay. So Alex, you've brought something to us. You brought a brilliant question and a very unique topic and something unique to be able to show. So we've got something for you. We've sent you something. There's a package near you somewhere.
Okay. I received the package, and
some instructions to not do anything with it.
To not do anything. Just so open it now. Here, you can't see it. I'm opening it now.
You're welcome to open it now. Yes.
Okay, just a moment here. Let me.
By the way, he did pay for it. We're not giving it.
Dun da da da. Hang on. Oh, here we go.
We just said to him,
Whoa!
"Whoa!
Yeah. Look at that. Wait. Say my name.
Alex, fantastic.
Thank you very much, fellas. This is fantastic. I will wear this with pride every day.
And every night.
Yep, fantastic.
And to bed."
Well, I mean, I will wash it at least once a month.
Whether it needs it or not.
Whether it needs it or not. Like how I shower. Dude, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yes.
Brilliant.
That's great.
I'm so happy.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Arigatou gozaimasu.
どういたしまして。こちらこそね。
I need to listen to your podcast to understand.
You got to listen to the podcast. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what that means. Listen to the podcast and we will teach you.
Yeah. Arigato, I think it's thank you.
Awesome.
But guys, seriously, thank you so much. That's a massive game changer for me. So very, very happy to learn those new tricks. It's amazing what you can get Pro Tools to do. So
we just got to talk. You just got to talk to it nicely.
Right.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. Well, thank you very much to Alex for bringing that to us. All leaves me to say is thank you very much to Andy.
You betcha.
Thank you very much to Anders.
Thank you.
Thank you to Alex.
Thank you, guys.
My name's Dave. This is Pro Tools Answers, and we're out.